Hello, this is Stephanie from Our Natural Wisdom. Oh, so good to be here with you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for catching the replay. I am going to be sharing a short and sweet, soulful gardening wisdom teaching with you, something that will help you with gardening, but also with your day-to-day life. So today's focus is instant anxiety relief with the 4 elements, and this is one of my favorite stillness practices to do with nature, and it really helps with anxiety. So I am really happy to be sharing it with you today. It's something, as I said, that will really inform your gardening and will deepen your relationship with the land, with the plants, with all of nature that is around you. And it's actually a practice that I teach regularly for women to connect more deeply with nature and find stillness while indoors. This is a wonderful practice to keep up with your nature connection during the cold winter months or during times of illness or when you're just unable to get out into nature. So I call this practice Elemental Stillness, and it is all about focusing on how the 4 elements of earth, air, fire, and water are present around you, within you, in every moment of every single day. And calling your awareness to this, bringing your intention, your mindful awareness and your connection with the 4 elements is a powerful way to ground yourself, to find stillness, and to open up your intuition, to really open up your 6th sense to receive messages from your soul's guidance, as well as directly from the elements of earth, air, fire, and water. And of course, as you know, the elements are present throughout nature all of the time. They are the basis of nature. The world around us revolves around the 4 elements. We are all dependent upon earth, air, fire, and water for really every living moment. So being able to step into this relationship that you have, and hi Christy, thanks for joining. I'm talking about elemental stillness, and especially as it relates to gardening and soulful gardening. So as you connect with the elements, you are really reclaiming this inseparability that you have with nature and with the 4 elements specifically. And when we extend that to connecting with the elements in your gardening space, whether it's on a patio or a rooftop garden or in garden beds or even in places where you don't have direct access to the ground, but being able to interact with the elements on the land that you inhabit. This is a really powerful practice for deepening your relationship with the earth and with all of nature. So the practice is simple and powerful, and it can really be deeply profound. And really what it is taking a moment, especially if you're experiencing a time of heightened anxiety or stress. This is a way to bring your awareness to something else and to allow your body and your soul, your heart, to guide you in connecting with what will most ground you in that moment, what will provide you the most healing, the most relief from the heavy emotions and thoughts that you are experiencing. So specifically in the garden, when we are out in the garden, whether again you're working with a potted plant or in the ground itself, in gardens in your yard, and I just did this weekend, and I was just reminded by how beautiful it is to be in that space of awareness of how deeply you can connect with the earth, with all 4 elements of earth, air, fire, and water. So for instance, as you are placing a plant in the ground, this can be a sacred moment. It can be a sacred pause, and you are the one that creates what is sacred. You have the power and the presence. Your presence makes this a sacred moment for you. So, for instance, as you're placing a plant, a young baby plant in the ground, which is something that I did many, many times over the weekend, 50 times to be exact. I planted a big garden, and so I was really getting into this connection with the four elements in such an embodied way, and it was so beautiful. So as you're placing the plant into the ground, of course you're connecting deeply with the earth in that moment, connecting with the soil, connecting with the roots of the plant that are going to be growing within the soil. And just recognizing, just experiencing that you are connecting with the element of earth. And to pause and allow yourself to just be in that space and to see what comes forth. Okay? It's something that could last for a few moments or for as long as you are feeling drawn to be in that space with that particular element. Then you move on to the next element. For instance, air, when you're in the garden. And actually, I should pause and say that specifically to creating a garden or to expanding a garden, when you are connecting with the four elements, you are also bringing in information, you're integrating information about your gardening space that will really inform your gardening decisions and where you place what, where you actually place a new garden bed, where you place your pots. All of these things are very much connected because you are looking at the earth and you are determining where the soil is in good condition. Of course, if it's like really coarse and gravelly and stony and dry, that's not a place that you would probably gravitate to planting something unless you're doing dry landscaping like xeriscaping. So when you are very consciously aware of how you are interacting with the earth and the conditions of the earth, this will really inform your gardening decisions and allow you to soulfully garden in such a way that is not only super practical because it will inform your gardening, but it's also very mystical. It's intuitive. It's coming from the divine feminine, your creativity, everything that comes along with being in relationship with the land. This is not just a practical activity of, okay, earth, yep, I'm connecting with the earth, put the plant there, move on to the next thing. It is about really opening your awareness to how you can experience each of the four elements in your garden space. So then we would move to air. And when you are connecting with air, of course, we're always connecting with air because we are breathing oxygen from the air. But specifically in your garden space, you can be connected with, stop and be aware of, for instance, the breeze or wind, and to notice how, especially if this is a practice that you do on a regular basis in your garden space, you will begin to notice particular areas that are more windy. You may have two structures that are coming together very close, like your home and garage, for instance. And if you are connecting with the elements in that space, you will instantly recognize that that particular space is a bit of a wind tunnel, that there's just more air movement through that, which is a good thing to know when you're planning your gardening locations, right? Because increased wind could mean potentially more harsh conditions for plants that are more delicate. You might not want to plant something that's super tall because increased wind could make it flop over. You might not want to plant something that requires a lot of moisture because the wind can be very drying. So connecting with the air, the element of air informs your gardening decisions, and this allows you to really step into a place of soulful gardening, connecting with the earth in a very deep way. Then we move to fire. And of course, in gardening and in all things in nature, the sun is our biggest source of fire, of all of this wonderful solar energy that our plants need to survive. So when you are connecting with the element of fire in your gardening space, and again, especially if you do this over time, potentially on a daily basis, when you are thinking about your garden, to really start to be cognizant of the patterns of where the sun falls, where it is in part sun through the day, where it is mostly shady. All of these things are super practical information to acquire when you are planning a garden. And being able to be connected and cognizant of this, your inseparability from fire, from the sun, is going to be healing to you as well, because you will be able to feel it. You will be able to experience the feeling of the sun on your face, on your back, as you're moving throughout your garden. Hi, Mary. Thank you for joining. And then we move to water, which of course is a huge part of gardening, right? I mean, that is always something that we need to consider, not only in terms of providing adequate water for our plants. And I have to say that that's one of the reasons that I love gardening with native plants, because when you use plants that are native to your region, they have evolved and adapted to the precipitation trends within your area, even within the context of climate change, with differences in precipitation. The plants that are native to your region will be able to tolerate the water conditions, the precipitation conditions in your area. So native plants are so wonderful at that. They don't require a lot of extra watering like a lot of other ornamental species do, and especially annual plants. So when you're connecting with the element of water in your garden, you are aware of the places in your garden space that are wet, that are moist, that are particularly dry even, because the absence of water, recognizing the absence of water, is another way to connect with the element of water, especially in your garden space. Hello, low-flying plane. So when you are moving through your gardening space and connecting with the four elements of earth, air, fire, and water, not only are you informing your gardening decisions, but you're also deepening your relationship with the land that you inhabit, with the space that you are planning to engage in soulful gardening with nature. And so I really encourage you to connect with the four elements throughout your day. You can do this indoors as well, as I said at the beginning. Such a powerful stillness activity that really truly can instantly relieve anxiety, because it shifts your awareness and it opens you up to the healing that nature is offering you in every moment. So I hope that you enjoyed that today. Today I have a special invitation, and that is that I am going to be holding a free live masterclass on the 3 keys to a garden that heals you and heals the earth. This masterclass will be offered 2 times. It's going to be on May 27th, next Friday, and then June 1st. You do need to register in order to get the link. It is free. So I encourage you to head on over to the link in bio. You can click the button for the masterclass, and I would love to see you there. And if you have any trouble with registering, feel free to contact me directly at stephanie@ournaturalwisdom.com. Thanks so much. I would love to see you at the masterclass. It's going to include a beautiful merging of practical gardening guidance and mystical wisdom to inform your soulful gardening with nature. Would love to see you there. Check out the link in bio to click the button and sign up for your free live masterclass today. Thanks so much for joining. Have a lovely day. Take care.